against civilians, the relocation of the labor force to Germany, and the killing of the prisoners of war. If we look at the major directions, for example, according to Hitler's plans, 65% of Ukrainian population were supposed to be deported to Siberia. 75% of the Belarusian population were supposed to be deported to Siberia. As for Russians and Poles, people who lived in Russia, according to Hitler's understanding, Russians were viewed as comparatively strong race from the biological standpoint. And according to Hitler's views, Russians had certain Nordic features which were the indications of their strong biological character. That is why, according to Hitler's understanding, it would be possible to decrease the biological strength of Russian race, and also the same attitude was towards Poles. This plan, it would be possible to fulfill all the directions of this plan only in case if Second World War will be the triumph of Nazism. The Second World War, Hitler was defeated, and in spite of the huge losses, I'll give you only one figure: Slavic population. The total number of people who were killed from the Slavic territories in the Second World War, 27 million people, half of them civilians. When we talk about Hitler's attitude towards gypsies, gypsies appeared in Europe around approximately 1,000 years ago. And even from the very beginning of their existence in Europe, they were considered as social outcasts, and very often they were viewed, for example, during the 15th century, gypsies were viewed as spies in favor of Ottoman Empire, because the expansion of Ottoman Empire, the attacks on Europe made people, for example, in German territories, viewed gypsies as spies of the Turks because of the different appearance, different lifestyle, and in spite of for example, in Germany, Weimar Constitution in 1919 eliminated all the articles connected with the discrimination of gypsies. Still, there were local laws. For example, a law in Bavaria prohibited gypsies from camping in bands near big cities. They were viewed as spies, they were viewed as asocials, and according to the presentation which was shown before, the total number of gypsies who were killed from 200,000 to 500,000 gypsies. You were able to see part of Nuremberg laws, and gypsies, together with such groups of people as Jews, homosexuals, criminals, they were considered as asocials, and the policy towards them included several approaches. One of the important approach was laws according to which they were supposed to be registered. They were prohibited from camping. For example, I'm sure this event is very familiar. In 1936 there was Olympic Games in Berlin, and in Berlin, for example, before Olympic Games took place, all gypsies from Berlin were put together in a special camp, and in this special camp they were subjected to very poor hygienic conditions. There were only two places where they were able to use the toilets. Diseases were very widely spread, and unfortunately this policy continued. When, after the beginning of the Second World War, and after Austria was annexed, Austrian Jews, together with German Jews, were sent to special labor camps in 1943. Gypsies were sent to a special camp, Oswiecim, Auschwitz, which was situated in Poland. The policy towards gypsies in Eastern Europe was different from one country to another, and we can't say that Hitler's policy towards gypsies was always consistent. For example, gypsies were completely eliminated in Croatia. Croatia was established by Ante Pavelić as an independent state of Croatia, together with Serbs. Also, gypsies were persecuted. Almost all gypsies were eliminated, were killed in Serbia. In Eastern Europe, for example, in Estonia in 1941, there were 800 gypsies. Nobody survived. In Latvia, 1935, almost 4,000 gypsies, half of them were killed. In Lithuania, 1,500 gypsies, 1,000 were killed. In Belarus, there were 17,000 gypsies, all of them were killed. So that is why when we talk about the policy towards gypsies, they were viewed as asocials, and they were persecuted together with other inferior races, homosexuals, people who didn't fit the criteria of Aryan superior race. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Larry Falk, who is Media Production Manager of Francis Marion University. Mr. Falk will share personal family stories to address the Jewish experience right before the Holocaust.
Again, thank you for coming. What I wanted to touch on today, the European Jewish population before and after the Holocaust or the Shoah. And then I wanted to share some personal stories from my family, who my mother's father's family was from Germany, and most are Holocaust survivors, luckily. So, to start with, the European Jewish population distribution around 1933, you see there's a total of 9.5 million Jews throughout Europe. In 1950, 3.5 million. And just for a comparison, in Poland before the war, there was 3 million Jews. Afterwards, 45,000. In Czechoslovakia, 357,000. And after the war, 17,000. In Romania, 980,000. After the war, 280,000. Yugoslavia, 70,000. And afterwards, 3,500. Okay, so you have those numbers, and how can we relate that to now, let's say, something more closer to home? Well, the 2008 population estimate of South Carolina is 4,479,800. So you take everybody in South Carolina, wipe them off the face of the earth. That still doesn't total the number of European Jews slaughtered during the Holocaust. You add in the population of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and you get a little bit over 6 million. So you take the whole population of South Carolina, almost everybody in the city of Philadelphia, kill them all. That's how many Jews were slaughtered during the Holocaust. So to bring it a little more personal, this building, let's see if I can get this to work. This building here in the middle, that is the synagogue that my grandfather's family attended in Erringen, Germany. Erringen, I guess, am I pronouncing that correctly? Okay, good. This picture was taken in 1985, 1975, somewhere in there. I'm not exactly sure. Oops, I'm backwards. All right. This is what it looked like in 2005. You can see the building next to it was torn down. But the building, this actual synagogue building, is still there. The only reason it survived is, how many of you have heard of Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass? Most of you heard about that. That's an evening or night when many Jewish synagogues were burned, holy objects were destroyed, windows were shattered. The only reason this synagogue survived is because the buildings on either side of it were owned by non-Jews. And so those buildings wouldn't burn down.